One of the reasons that we still do it as a family is that no matter whether you're 2 or 92, the first thing you do when you see him is smile.
I am the keeper of the UNC Mascot, Rameses. He lives here with me on the farm. I have been helping the family interact with the Rams since I got married into the Hogan family in 1989, and it's very much a family affair.
The original settlers here were in the mid-1750s, and so we have deep roots here in Orange County.
My grandfather was Henry Hogan. My mother was Dot Hogan Bass Knight.
All generations of the family are involved, and all members of the family participate in some way, depending upon their ability.
I spent a lot of my life growing up helping with the ram and here on the farm on a regular basis.
I met Chris in 1979, and one of the things that attracted me most to him was this farming family. And of course, Rameses played center stage.
My great uncle was a UNC alum, and back in the early 20s, some of the coaches from UNC were coming out here to the farm and hunting, and UNC didn't have a mascot at that point.
The horned Dorset, the male horned Dorset, has this beautiful double curl, rounded, symmetrical horn shape that's imposing and in keeping with the tradition of the battering ram, which is where the idea of the mascot came from.
Jack Merritt was, at that era, he was called the battering ram, and that's how that has evolved.
So this year, 2024, celebrates the 100th year of UNC's mascot being a ram. And the ram lived on campus for the first couple of years, and that wasn't very satisfactory. And my grandfather's farm was close enough to campus for the ram to easily live there.
Some of the coaches coming out said, well, this would be a good place to keep him. And Hogan's, would you be interested in doing that? We'll set you up with 4 season tickets, and you know, the rest is pretty much history.
So he's been on the Hogan farm close to campus here since, we don't really know when, but the early 1930s.
In my early years, which I started working with them probably more in the 60s and the 70s, the rams weren't really pets.
Sometimes the ram that would go to the game would be whichever ram we could catch. And that animal was usually almost feral and not one you would trust around the public very much. But over the last 25 or 30 years, we've been able to provide much more attention and care to the rams as when they're babies.
You know, we'll start to transition him over really young, getting him broke. If it's one of the babies that is born here, which is not quite as common, but if it does happen, then we start with them immediately, hand feeding and getting them in our hands, and they normally make for a really good ram because they've had a lot of human connection early.
This particular animal is a COVID baby. He came to the farm right when the government shutdown happened, and so my nephews worked from home along with Ann, and so on a daily basis, when he was just a baby, they began to walk him on a lead and pet him and play with him every day. And that, I believe, is responsible for this animal being so gentle and kind with the public.
I see him every day. I check on him every day. I talk to him. I pet him. I, give him grain. He's a grazer, so he mostly feeds himself. He has a lot of open space. He has sheep friends that he lives with. He's got a really great accommodation, and he leads kind of a pretty great life. So my work with him is really pretty easy, but I do interact with him every single day.
What's really been amazing about these rams here in the last quarter century or so is that because we handle them so much, they have been very, very kind around people.
Chris and I used to take him to various schools, and while he is very strong and Chris would watch him very carefully, he was gentle with the children. All the children loved him and their parents that would come, and he was a joy to the teachers and would just gather everyone in the community.
I literally have never seen anybody interact with him that doesn't immediately break into a big smile and go, oh my God, there's the ram. And they're so excited and they want their pictures taken and they want to touch him and they want to tell the stories of when they were at school or their kids going to school. So there are very few things in life that are just such a source of pleasure. And I would say Rameses is one of those touchstones in life where his presence just brings joy to people.
Can't even imagine how many pictures have been taken and that are on mantelpieces and fond memories for people. It's just as when you take him to a game, before you can even get him off the trailer, they're already taking pictures.
So I don't know when the painting of the horns started. I know that once we got acrylic and water-based paint, and we know that it's safe for the animal to have his horns painted, it's really become quite an iconic feature of our mascot. His horns are made of the same type of material that our fingernails and our toenails are made of, and painting his horns is like painting your fingernails.
Getting him painted before the games is normally a group effort.
We have to paint him and touch him up before each appearance and outing. It's a lot of fun. We get the paint usually at Fitch Lumber Company. They know of it as Hogan Blue. We go in and ask for a gallon of Hogan Blue, and that easily lasts us a couple of years.
He also would let us paint his horns pink for breast cancer.
This live mascot for UNC is one of the oldest in the nations, and in my opinion, the coolest one in the nation. It's not some little dog or trapped bird. This is a beautiful ram, and we're celebrating his 100th year. This latest blanket was made outside the family. My aunt Carolyn and my cousin Kim have made the blankets for, well, my whole lifetime. UNC alumni Lynn Collier graciously donated her time and expertise to creating the current blanket.
It has been a really pleasurable experience to be part of the Rameses tradition.
It's all something that actually I just enjoy. It's just a part of who I am. I guess the best way to describe it is a wholesome experience.
He's very happy and at the prime of his life right now. We expect him to be about halfway middle-aged ram and can easily go, we would think, four more years after this season, probably. UNC is very generous and very kind to us, and he's beloved by the Tar Heel Nation.